Right, we're doing another review today on one of my most popular videos on the channel where I went through what are the best ETBs to buy for 2024. Now, I released this video at the start of the year. It's going to be interesting to see today where they are now and whether or not my suggestions were good. Now, this is actually one of the biggest videos on my channel. It's been gaining, views every single month. It's been doing very well. Was the advice given any good? We're going to find out today. Let's jump in. All right, so this video I made here, best ETBs to pick up right now in 2024. This one was released 5 months ago, so pretty much near the beginning of the year. All right, so the first one I'm reviewing today is the Hidden Fates ETB. Of course, the Hidden Fates ETB is a, really good, well set. It's very popular. I expect it to do well in the future. I'd cover Hidden Fates quite a bit. Over here in the UK, the prices of an ETB is, pretty much the same as it has been. Going up a little bit, but not by much. You can probably pick them up for around 105, 110, which is, a relatively good price. However, in the US, Hidden Fates has always done pretty well. Now, I released this video about 5 months ago, which was around about beginning of February time. And this is one of the biggest videos on the channel. So I want to see today whether or not the advice I gave in the video was any good or not. I'm going to be pretty harsh on myself, and hopefully I did. So obviously here I covered it in the 3-month period, and it had been going up, and then it started to see a sudden drop. And of course, with all the videos, I tend to look at what happened the whole year rather than just those 3 months. So it's always interesting. It's always kind of weird seeing myself 5 months in the past, but there you go. So over the past year, it didn't really do much. It pretty much stayed level. So, you could be looking, well, in that case, it probably wasn't the best to pick up, but we can see where it is 5 months on. So $163 was 5 months ago. So Hidden Fates ETB, let's see where it is 5 months on. So 5 months on is $172. You would have made a little bit of gains on the Hidden Fates ETB. Now, the interesting thing with Hidden Fates right now is the single pack prices are like $22 a pack. They have actually gone up from about $16 to $22 a pack, which, you get 10 in a ETB. So that's like $220 just for 10 packs, which is pretty crazy. Just buy the ETB. It's so much cheaper. And you get the promo and all the accessories in there anyway. But let's look back over the past year. Again, hasn't really done a huge amount, but it has slightly climbed up across the board, as you can see. But right now, the single packs have been going up, whereas the ETB has pretty much stayed the same. But I still feel like it's a good one. It hasn't really gained much in the past 5 months. All right, let's continue. Let's see what else I talk about. So obviously, Hidden Fates is, I think very good, but it's gone up a little bit. Not by much, but it has gone up just a smidge, pushing towards that 170 mark for the ETB. Okay, so we've got Evolved Skies. This is going to be an interesting one because Evolved Skies has gone crazy over the last few months. So this one was $98 when I talked about this one, and it actually went up from 80 to 98. And this is just for the regular ETB. This isn't like the Pokemon Center exclusive. Of course, they would be like insane. But Evolved Skies across the board, from the single cards to the seal product, has been doing very well. Booster boxes, however, over the past 6 months, haven't really shifted much. They had that big boom and they had that big spike, and then maybe the last month or two they kind of cooled off and settled. Whereas the ETBs, I haven't really reviewed them in a while, so it's going to be interesting 5 months on. But as I went through this, you could see that it did keep going up and had a recent spike. Whether or not this has broken $100 will be interesting, because I did say that it was a good one to pick up 5 months ago at 98. So let's take a look. So here we are. We have the ETB 5 months later. We're looking at $125. So this one has actually gone up. This one would have gained you 25% roughly in gains in 5 months. That's insanely good. That is very, very good, in fact. So yeah, I was worried that this one might not have broken $100, but it has actually gone up pretty well. And over the past year, there we go. We can see that absolute gain. So when I did the video, it was around about $90 or so. So it's probably, the last 6 months, we can get an idea. So it's probably around about here or 5 months, and then it has climbed up ever since. I do expect it to continue to climb. This is just the regular ETB. So this one actually did relatively well. So this one, compared to the Hidden Fates, was a good suggestion by me. I'm pretty happy with that one. I was kind of worried that it might not have gone over 100, but it has quite a bit in 5 months. All right, let's carry on. So again, yeah, as we can see, $98, $125, you would have made about 25% in 5 months. That's actually a very good return. So yeah, Evolved Skies, ETBs are a very good one. Celebrations, this is going to be interesting because Celebrations as a whole across the board hasn't really moved much. And I think even when I made this video, you can see that it hasn't really moved much. Yes, it did drop at the time. It did go from high as 82 and then it dropped to $73, $74. Celebrations is an interesting one. I did a video recently where I think it will go up once the next anniversary comes, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, at the time when I'd made this video, it didn't really do much. It was actually the lowest it ever was over that year period. So over that year period at $73, $74, it was the lowest. So it's going to be interesting to see where it is now. Like I say, Celebrations hasn't really done much. So let's see where it is. So it was $74. Now we're looking at $76. So it's gone up a little bit. Not by much. Like I said, Celebrations hasn't really moved much. I do expect it to do well when we get to the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, which is crazy to say. But over the past 3 months, it has actually gone up. We go back over the last 6 months and we can start to see the bounce back. So when I made the video, it was, sitting around there. It did actually dip and has made a little bit of recovery. Over the past year, it is still down on where it was a year ago. Obviously not the lowest because it has bounced back. But at the moment, Celebrations is an interesting one. Like I say, I do think in the real long term, obviously 5 months is not that long, but in the real long term, I think it will do very well. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Celebrations right now, I think we have to hold off until the 30th anniversary. All right, moving on. So yeah, 74 hasn't really gained much. Like I say, I do think it's one of these sets and one of these products that we should wait and see down the line and see where it goes. Right, Champions Path, interesting one. So this one went up to $120. Now this is one of the things where I'm like, these are great ones to pick up. It's going to be interesting, right? Because I've suggested about picking this up potentially at the highest price point that it has ever been. Yeah, so at the highest price point there's ever been, I'm like, yeah, this is a great product to pick up. $120, whether it is, it's heavily reliant on 2 big Charizards. Interesting. It's an interesting choice that I chose this one. I don't know how well Champions Path has done. I haven't really checked upon Champions Path, but if I said it was the good to pick up at its highest point, I think this one might be wrong, but we'll see. All right, Champions Path ETB, 102. So it had dropped. So probably not the best one to pick up, 112 there, but it was $102. We go back after the last 6 months, and yeah, you could see actually it went up. It did actually go up to 120. So it would have been okay, but no, it did actually drop down a little bit. So probably not one of the best ones to get, of course. This set really isn't moving much. This kind of gives me very similar to like Dark Blaze and Vivid Voyage in the Sword and Shield era, where there's not really much movement. Pretty much anything that doesn't have an art in it is really struggling. Shining Fates, Champions Path, like I say, all the other sets prior to Battle Stars is not doing relatively well. So yeah, this one was a bit of a dud. All right, bit of a dud. I'll tell you what, if I said to pick up when it was here at that 90, you would have been still fine. You would have been okay. But yeah, around 117, not 112, even worse. Then yeah, not great. Not great on that one. All right, Pokemon 151. I think this one has gone up. So 151 has had a real big boom recently. Stock is really hard to get hold of. So when I made this was $55. I still predict that even now, I would like to say this is going to be one of the strongest holiday set ETBs to pick up in the Scarlet and Violet era. And I still think it's good, right? So even then, you looked at the prices start to dip. Now, bearing in mind when I made this video, Pokemon 151 wasn't out that long because it came out towards the end of last year. So it had only been out maybe 4 months, roughly, maybe 5 months at a push. So it hasn't been out very long, as you can see there. So there you go. So it did actually drop, so a bit longer than 5 months, about 6 months. So it did actually drop and it started to recover some pricing, but let's see where it is now. So we do have the regular ETB, we're looking at $70. So we're looking at, what was it, 54, 55 I said? $70 would have made a really big increase. This is not the Pokemon Center version. This is just the regular ETB at $70, which is very, very impressive that it has grown. I mean, you can see over the past 3 months, it has gone absolutely crazy. Over the past 6 months, it just continues to grow. Over the past year, it is as high as it's ever been, and it's continuing. Whether or not a reprint comes, and it's supposed to be the end of the year, all depends on how big it is and what they're going to reprint. Is it going to be ETBs? Is it going to be booster bundles? It's more than likely going to be ETBs, and it's more than likely going to be booster bundles. I do expect the prices of these to fall, potentially close to what is supposed to be a retail. Caution with this one, super caution. If you got it 5 months ago when I did the video, you've done very well. You may say, Jace, should I sell it now? That's entirely up to you. Personally, I would just hold on to it. That's probably the route I would go down, but it has made some gains at $70, so pretty good there. That was at 55, and yeah, I'm pretty happy that it's now $70. This one was a good choice. This one was a good one, predicting how the power of 151 is going through. Next up, I go through the Obsidian Flames ETB. So this one was at $37. Again, this was another one I picked at where it was pretty much at its highest ever point. Now, I do remember when I did this video, I actually talked about the ETBs at the time over here in the UK. They were pretty easy to get hold of. You can get them for like 30 on average. I think they were like, in some places, they were 25. So they were quite easy to get hold of Obsidian Flames. And I kind of feel like because it's Charizard, because it's Charmander, it might hold better value in the long run. Of course, it is just a normal ETB. I don't normally suggest going for normal ETBs for a main set. Normally it tends to be for Pokemon Center ETBs, but I kind of felt like that this was going to be a strong performer compared to some of the others because of the Charmander promo as well. The Charmander promo did fetch a reasonable price at the time, so we're going to see where it is now. So it was 37. Alright, so Obsidian Flames ETB, we're looking at 35. So has recently dropped. That's quite interesting. So literally over the past like couple of weeks, it was around 37. So you would have been pretty much level, but it did actually drop. But it must have dropped before then. So yeah. So when I made the video, we were talking about it being around that 37, and it did drop to as low as 33, and actually started to recover, but it's dropped again a little bit over the past couple of weeks. So not the best one to get. Like I say, normally I would tend to go for the Pokemon Center ones, but at the time it was really cheap over here in the UK, and on top of that, it's a cheaper buying price for a lot of people if they do want to grab a sealed product to invest in. I do feel like it is still a good ETB, especially because of the promo. But right now, it's pretty much the same as it was, but has dropped a little bit. So not the best one there, but still a lower entry point compared to some of the others. So next up, I'll talk about Paldea Evolved, another non-Pokemon Center ETB at 33. So this one's a little bit less entry point than the Obsidian Flames one. Again, the Pikachu promo is very good. I think this one might have gone up just because of the Paldea Evolved booster boxes have gone up. They're around 130 bucks. Paldea Evolved is arguably one of the better, sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. Whether or not the ETB has converted over to be a pretty good price now would be interesting. Don't forget, Paldea Evolved has now been out over a year, so it's had time to mature a little bit. Of course, we're expecting a potential reprint, whether or not one will come, but back then, an ETB was around $33. So we have the normal Paldea Evolved ETB. We're looking at $38, nearly $39. So yeah, this one would have made you a little bit of money. It did go up, nearly was at 40. So that would have been pretty good. Yeah, gained about $7 in value. Of course, we're not talking about like crazy gains, but still relatively good. And I do expect it to continue to climb. And I mean, over the past 6 months, it is the highest it's ever been. And over the past year, it is also the highest it's ever been. So this one could be a good one moving forward. Of course, we talked about Paldea Evolved booster boxes going up. This will be a reasonably good one to expect to continue to climb, even though it's just a regular ETB and not the Pokemon Center version. So yeah, overall, this one would have been a really good one. Like I say, went from $33 to nearly $40, so you would have gained a little bit of extra value, of course. And then finally, I go through Crown Zenith. So at the time, Crown Zenith had fallen. It was $42, fallen from $50. Now we've seen a lot of the single cards from Crown Zenith go up. A lot of the gold V-Stars have gone up. A lot of the normal V-Stars have gone up. And some of the other chase cards instead have gone up as well. Whether or not the sealed product has gone up, we'll have to see. But look, it did drop from 65 down to 42. There was a ton of Crown Zenith around, especially at the beginning of the year. There was just absolutely a load of it. The set's been out now for, over a year. So we started to see Crown Zenith drop a little bit. Over here in the UK, it started to be a little bit more expensive. So it'll be really interesting to see where Crown Zenith was. So it was 42. Where is it now? Crown Zenith now, 5 months on, is $52. So you would have gained $10 in value. So about just over 20% in value over the past 5 months, and it has gone up quite a bit, like I expected. Like I say, kind of like Crown Zenith, even here in the UK, has been harder and harder to get hold of. It is getting a little bit more pricey. Over the past 6 months, it is the highest it's ever been, but it still has not got back up to where it once was, where it had that reprint. It had a big ETB reprint. That's how that drop happened from 65 down to the low 40s, and that was right, buy it now. It's at low 40s, it will go up, and it has gone up. It's gained $10 in value already, gone up over 20% in 5 months. Very, very good. I expect it to get back up to where it once was and potentially surpass it. Crown Zenith is one of the best sets in the Sword and Shield era, so I expect it to do well. There you have it, guys. That's my review of one of my biggest videos that I made at the beginning of the year, talking about great ETBs to pick up. Some of them were not the best, right? Some of them were not the best. Obsidian Flames and Champion's Path weren't the best ones to choose from. But Crown Zenith, 151, Paldea Evolved, even Celebrations, like, these are really, really good ETBs, and I do expect them to continue to rise. Evolving Skies is just doing incredibly well. We've seen some gains on a lot of these ETBs by 20-25% in 5 months, which is just incredible. And even some of them have gone up by like $5, $6, $7 and gone up by about 10% or more, 10 to 15% in value over the past 5 months, which is very good. Of course, we invest in these for the long term, right? We're looking at 5+, 10+ years. We're we're not looking at the short term. But even in short term, we're seeing 25% gains in 5 months, which is just absolutely incredible with some of these. Interesting to see. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. But like I say, let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. Would you like to see me review more of my previous videos? Maybe we can go back even further and we can go back into 2023, go back into maybe even 2022, and we can see one, what the hell I looked like back then, and two, whether or not I gave some good advice on single cards and sealed product. But if you want to know what sealed product to pick up this month is, then make sure to click the video on the screen. That is it from me, guys, in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.